Right. All right. So maybe we can start, and I'll let people in as they join. So thanks everyone for joining. Welcome to the webinar. It is organized by the Happy to Help's Open Mentoring Group. I have shared all the links in the chat window. Please feel free to kind of explore the website, and also the social media handles are there for you to kind of follow and be, you know, so we do this webinar every Saturday. So we post it on all the social media forums. So if you are following, you'll be updated on what's coming next. To introduce our speaker today, Neeraj Sidhya is working with Capgemini. He's a tech architect, very hands-on. He is based out of UK right now. His areas of interest are API design, automation, and yeah, and he's like an extremely good long distance runner, as you can see from his profile picture. And it's going to be a very interactive session. So if you have any questions, please use the chat window, or you can unmute yourself and ask. And we would try to finish by 8 o'clock, and maybe spend a minute or two on the explaining what the platform is and what the initiative is all about. So with that, over to you, Neeraj, to start.
Okay, thanks, Atul. Hi, everyone. Thanks all for your time joining this session. I'll quickly share my screen. Yeah, let me know if is it screen visible now?
Yes, Neeraj.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thanks. So today I'll just try to focus on this is kind of E2E test automation without writing code. So uh, uh, the whole point I want to address here when you say without writing code is when we write test cases using so there is a framework called Zerocode framework. It is an open source framework, and that framework is simplifies a way we write the test cases. So it's like almost the framework does all the complexity behind the scene, and actually uh, we a developer or tester or anyone who is even non-technical, they can also write the test cases using simple JSON or YAML files. So that's the way I just wanted to put without writing code. Means it's very easy to write a test case with the Zerocode framework. So I'll just go next. So these are all the points we'll be talking about today. One is of course the problem statement and then solution, and then about the Zerocode framework, and then the demo. So most of the time we will spend our time on demo part, where I'll show you by exposing a REST API, and then we'll write a test case using the Zerocode framework, and I'll show you how easy it is, how we can integrate with different things, and then next we'll talk about how easy it is to integrate with the build tool integration like Jenkins and etc. And then we'll talk about who are all Zerocode consumers at the moment. Though this list in the slide is very short, just for the sake of purpose. Otherwise, there are a lot of companies who are already consuming this library in production environment. And there are certain publications. I mean, there are various people who are writing the blog about the various features of the framework, etc., and the community support. Like there are various channels available where you can raise tickets or where you can ask for the helps if you want about anything about the framework. Okay. So I'll start from problem statement. If you have any queries in between, feel free to ask the questions. And yeah, okay. So if we talk about problem statement, let's say most of the time when we scenario when we write the test cases, especially the contract test or the integration test, they are like kind of harder, or and that makes it little slower process in the overall test case development. And most of the time, people basically invest the time on learning that framework or the tool itself, rather than writing the various test cases or writing the various kind of scenario covering. So that takes a lot of time for people to understand the the framework, the tools, and the testing framework itself instead of that. And also, like we see the consumer uh, writing test case scenario are time consuming, and due to complexity of the frameworks, it becomes difficult for collaboration between the teams or across the teams due to non-standard way. For example, some developer write in some other way, and some developer tester writes in some other way. So there is no standard way of writing the test cases. So the overall problem statement is like sometimes the tools are not easy to understand. That the tools setup, environment setup, tools learning curve, and the non-standardization of the tool itself takes a lot of time, and that's what this solution is like. I mean, if you look at this zero code framework, this minimizes all that complexity, and you can straightforward only focus on writing the test cases, which is easy and quick and very easy to maintainable. So these are just a quick summary of very high level summary of it. Like, it's very easy to write and maintain. It's kind of a declarative test case writing, meaning that you can just start writing test case in JSONs or YAML formats. And the most important thing, since it is a JSON, so anyone in the team should be able to contribute for writing the test cases. Uh, and also, yes, it is very should be easy to integrate with build pipelines like Jenkins, etc. So whenever you commit any code, you can run your test cases as part of the code commit, so that runs the entire test suite. Or during the build pipeline, you can also integrate, just put a GetAll task or Maven task in the Jenkins pipeline, which helps you to run the test case end to end when you build the code. Also, yes, it is very much configurable. You can test the run test case against any environment by just writing a very simple task. Auth to support. Yes, it does have support for auth too, so you can pass your custom headers in the test cases. Easy mocking, boundary systems provide detailed test reports. Report is very clean here. I mean, in the sense that you can easily find out how the report looks like, and what are the failures in our test scenario. Anyway, I'm going to cover this report, but also in the subsequent section. But yeah, and also the performance testing is also very quick and easy in this framework. So if you look at this is kind of high level features again. So basically, if you look at Zerocode uses the JUnit engine for executing the test cases, right? So at the core of it, it is all based on the JUnit engine for executing your test cases. So there is pretty much baseline framework that resides as JUnit. There is no Java code as such. You are not writing any Java code when you are writing the test case. All you are writing test case in a simple JSON or YAML file. It's just that you have to link this JSON file to the Zerocode via one Java file. But in that Java file, there will be no test case as such. So which anyway I'll show you when I come to the demo part. API chaining, request and response. So this also becomes very easy in the sense. API chaining is like, if you have you let's say you create one record and you get a response of the record one ID, and you want to check, you want to again fetch that, right? Or you want to test API 2, and by passing the API 1 response attributes to the API 2 service call. That way, kind of API chaining is very easy in this framework. Easy and detailed level of assertions on the response using the simple JSON path, and automated tests can be developed, maintained testers as well as by developers. So it's so easy that it can be easily understood by any non-technical stakeholders as well as Super easy to integrate with build tools like Jenkins. Database test support. This is also very good in the sense that you can always. So if you have any DAO layer, and if you want to test that, okay, whether my record is really inserted into the DB or not, you can directly call any Java class from the test case, which I'll show you this example as well in the demo. Kafka testing, yes, it does support Kafka testing in the sense that you have the if you have the project where you have Kafka cluster running, you have producers and consumer, and you want to really test whether uh, I mean will not so this test case helps you to automate publishing of message to a topic, and then which you can write a test case which you can confirm that okay that whatever message is being put, it is being consumed by your code as well. So that way you can also do that. So that is also very supported in the framework. Documentation, yes, on the GitHub there are more than enough documentation supported. We can find each and everything. Also there is a lot of community support like Slack and GitHub and etc. No training, no training at all required. Just I think it just couple of hours or probably 1 day to understand the entire framework and just start using it. Okay, any questions? So I'll just show the landing page of this. This is how it looks like. So this is the landing page of on the GitHub for the Zerocode. So if you see, it's Apache license 2.0, and there are a couple of ample type of pages on the wiki where you can all the entire documentation is there: developer guide, security, load testing, performance testing. So anyway, I'll come to this later, but this is kind of a rich documentation in terms of it. So any questions so far?
Hi, Neeraj.
Yeah.
Yeah, so are we talking here about unit test cases also or only integration test cases?
Yeah, it's mostly on integration test cases. So which you can also write integration test case, contract test, boundary system test, or end-to-end test cases.
Oh, okay, but at the same time, developers have to write the unit test cases also, right?
Yes.
So that is also important. So
yes.
Can we cover that in Zerocode?
So basically, if you talk about the unit test case, you can straightforward. There's a piece of code. There's a method of. That's you are just testing that block of the code, right? That very well you can write using the standard JUnit. For that, Zerocode is not the fit for the purpose because you have the unit test case for the JUnit thing. But if you want integration test, if you want end-to-end test case, if you want to test your boundary systems, boundary services, if they are working or not, and then the contract test. So probably it is mainly for that fit for purpose.
Okay, so in that case, for unit test cases, we have to write the JUnit test cases, and then for integration, we have to use the Zerocode.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
Okay. So yeah. Any other question?
Yeah. Hi, Neeraj. This is Kedar.
Yep. Hi, Kedar. Yep.
Yeah. So just my question is, this framework can be utilized for functional regression suite as well, right?
Yes.
Perfectly. So one more thing, does it supports all the Microsoft products as well? Means, for example, as it is open source, like for example, like SharePoint based applications, Microsoft Dynamics CRM based application, any kind of other application, does it supports all those things?
So yeah, so basically it supports any service which is running on HTTP protocol. So if you have any service exposed or REST, SOAP, or an HTTP, you can very well write a test case against it.
Okay, perfect. So means any web-based application can be, it does not have means like any web-based application you can automate using this, right?
Yep.
Perfect. Can it be useful for our business users as well? Like whenever we are writing something, does it in a such a readable format in a simple layman language that can be understood by our business as well? So that
Yes.
okay, perfect.
Yes. And the best part is it is so easy. So basically, what if I talk about the API thing, what we do normally is we design the APIs, and as part of API design, we have the deliver kind of a API contract, right, which can be in part of Swagger or RAML, right? So once you have your API contract ready, the development of API and the testing of APIs can go in parallel. So, I mean, what I mean to say is you can start writing the test case with Zerocode because all you want to know is the contract. And once you write the test case with Zerocode based on the contract, obviously when you run those test cases, they will fail because there is no code written on it, or they are not deployed, which is fine. But at least by the time you deploy your code, your test case will get start passing or failing based on the code written, right? So the both testing and development can go hand in hand from the point you have the contract ready.
Perfect. Yeah. And in terms of community support is also is available, right?
Yes, very much. Yes.
Yeah. Documentation and community support. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Always, thanks. So I'll talk about I'll create a GetAll or project, and then which will add a dependency, this is Zerocode dependency. Then I'll write a test case using simple JSON file, and then I'll just link with this link JSON file with Zerocode test runner, and then we'll just specify the host port, etc. And then I'll just run the test case. Okay, let me just go back to IntelliJ. So, so this is my project at the moment, which I have already created, and it is like a kind of simple REST API, which I'll expose. So this is my GitHub page, and this is what I have just cloned it here. And so this is simple Spring Boot REST API, which is using in-memory DB application. Okay, and you can go through this if you like sometime later, but this is all the detailed documentation which are put in the README, how you can easily use it, and these are the reports would look like. So I'll just what I'll do, I'll just run this. Just to So what it will do is while I'm building this, at the same time it's also running all those integration test cases which I have put in using the Zerocode here. So if you will see the request and response going through while the code is building, right? So if any of the test case fails, your code will fail, obviously. So if you see this is the Zerocode integration test being run. All this blue request response, right? I mean, it depends what all kind of test you want to run at the time of building your code. It's all you can very well manage there. So just taking time, it just spinning up the in-memory S2 database, and then creating record and running the test against the records. Okay, so that is done. I'll just go to target. Okay, I'll just run this app, the API which I exposed. It's very simple API. I can simply show you the code here if you like. So just one controller in it, API runners, and what it is doing here is it allows you to fetch all the runners. You can find the runner profile by any ID, or you can register the post call. You can create a new runner record and the update like patch. That's a very pretty much easy thing here. Okay, started. So if I show you this, so this is how it looks like. Okay, so this is what it is. So if I write this, so if I write 2, there is no record because there is only one record at the moment. 2404. Okay, so what we'll do now is the next will I'll be writing I'll be creating a new project, and I'll writing a test case using Zerocode to test this API. Okay, so what I'll do is so there is a very much archetype is being created in by the Zerocode archetype. So it will just auto generate your code very quickly. So I'll just show you how. So I'll just copy this guy here, then I'll go here, I'll just paste it here. Okay, so it will just create a dummy project for me with basic dependencies in it and basic files in it, so that it becomes all the boilerplate code is ready for us to use. Okay, so that's there. I'll just grab this path. Okay. Okay, so it's loading. Okay, so we got this here. So it has created a basic project, and if you look at here, this is the only dependency we need. Okay, so or JSmart, Zerocode TDD, and the version, you can always pick up the latest version, but for the demo purpose, this is fine. Yeah. Okay, so the very first step which I will do is, so these two things have already been done by the archetype. Okay, so let's write the test case. Okay, uh, all you have to do is in the test folder there is resource and then resources, and then these are the test case already written there. We'll write a new test case. All you have to do is, let's say I'll write get test test get all runners .json. Okay, okay, so this is what we are writing actually the test case, what how it looks like. So all you have to do is write what is your scenario. So scenario name, let's say my scenario name is test get runners. Okay, and then I'll have to just write steps, what steps I have here. Okay, so and then I'll have to just mention, okay, what is the name of my step. So I'll name my step is say test get runner. Okay, and I'll say, okay, what is the URL. Okay, so URL is slash runners. So if you see here, I'm not putting entire URL of this because obviously this will be configured to a separate config file, so that you can run your test case against any environment if you're running it. So because this will change as per the environment when you test it, right? So if you're CIT or SIT, whatever you have non-prod environments, and then obviously you will have some method. So for us it is get at the moment, and then the request is no request for us at the moment, and you will have verify assert, right? So what exactly you want to assert? So I want to assert like sorry,
Neeraj, we're not really able to hear you if you're saying something.
He's on mute.
तो उसको कॉल करते हैं क्या?
हाँ,
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, hello. Is it okay now, Atul?
Yeah, anyways, now we can.
Oh, sorry. I think some of the button I press on the keyboard and make it mute. Sorry. How long was it for? Hopefully not just a while, right?
when you started writing.
Just a while. Okay, okay. Sorry about that. I think that's I also press insert, so that was sorry. Okay, so that's all here. Like, so this is how the test case would look like. A very basic, simple test case for testing your API. So I have a scenario. I have a steps. I am having only single step at the moment. What is the name of step? What is the URL method? There's no request, and on the verify, I want to verify the status, right? So that's how the test case looks like, and it's, you see, it is very easy. I mean, it's very easy for anyone to understand, because it says what is the test case, what URL you are hitting, what method, and what request and response, what we want to verify actually. So after this, what we'll do is we'll just link this YAML to a Zerocode test runner, right? So all you have to do is you can go here and create a new class, and I'll just link this to there. So let's say get runners test. Okay, get runners test, and then I'll have a notation like run with Zerocode dot class, and then I'll have target environment will be my application underscore host dot properties. Okay, and there I will say like void test get runners. I have to just this is where I'll do the linking. So I'll just write say test, which is JNet, and then I'll say scenario name. Let's see, scenario is like, so it is my scenario file is here, right? So I'll just say test slash test get all runners dot JSON. Okay, so if you see, this is how this test is now linked to this scenario, and all I have to create is application host dot properties, where I'll be putting the details about where is my API is exposed, right? So I'll type application underscore host dot properties. All right, so I'll just grab from here. It becomes easy. Okay, so that's all. I mean, that's pretty much you will have to do to write a test case with a very basic test case. So what we have done is we have just wrote a test case with a simple status check 200, and then just link this to here. So if you see, there is no code here at all. You just what you are telling is run this test case with Zerocode init runner, and this is the application host file where your details are being placed, and then this is there. So I'll just run this. Okay, so if you see, it's a very simple test and it is passed. So let's look at the logs, what it is doing. It's very self-explanatory logs when it run the test case. So it's running the test scenario, test get runners, and then you have scenario name and the step name. Okay, it it prints everything very clearly, like this is the URL you are trying to hit, this is the method you're trying to hit, there is no request. And if you see, I am only verifying here the status code, but if you see in the logs, it prints the entire response. It is coming from the API, right? So if you see, there is an entire response which is being printed here, okay? And then obviously the status which we are trying to assert is here, okay? So if you see this, even you can verify the body as well. So if I straightforward go here, and I can just paste the body here. So this is the verify. What I'll do is I want to verify this as well. So I'll just run this. So what we are doing is we are verifying the status code as well as the entire body, what is coming in the body. So you can verify each and every attribute from the body as well, like that. Okay, and also if you look at this, let's add one more step to it, so that so this is the one step. So in this step, basically a scenario is kind of a logical name for your scenario you want to test. So get runners could have multiple steps, like all runners with the ID, right? So what I'll do is I'll just put a comma and add another step. Another step, you can simply just copy things from here, right? So you don't have to, you can, so I'll write, so I'll test get runner by ID. Okay, so what I'll have to do is I'll just write here, so 2 get verify. What I am to verify is obviously status is 404, right? And so you got this status 404, and then yeah, that's it. And then if I run the test case, it will just execute that test against those 2 steps. Yeah, so just printing on. Yeah, if you see, it has just done that, run the test, which is just written. And if you see, there is a response body also coming message. So if you want to assert a specific like specific response in the error in the response body, you can pretty much write it. Okay, I want to also verify whether message contains particular string or not. So you can verify, right? Contains dot string not found. That's it. Contains dot string not found, right? You can check whether, okay, I want to also verify whether the message in the response I say something like not found. So you can just run it and it will also test against that. So it's all, it uses JSON path very effectively to write your test cases. Okay, let's look at the let's have a quick look at the report as well. So I'll just walk you through the report. So it generates an Excel file as well as this file. So if you look at this file, it reports, it just done the report. This is like your dashboard, how many test cases are being executed, and if all the various status of the test, you have all the steps which environment the test was executed, and time regression, and etc. Everything is very detailed here. And if you can change the view, this is something extra. And then you can easily search. So if you see, these are all the tests we executed multiple times, right? If you see here, these are all coming as passed at the moment. And this correlation ID is very helpful, because with the correlation ID you can easily search in the logs which test case has specifically failed. Okay, so yeah, I think that's how the reports look like, and this is how its Excel sheet looks like. So basically, this is Excel sheet. From this sheet, the main attribute is important is you can think of it as a correlation ID, because when we write a test case for boundary APIs which we are consuming, and so we can write a separate test suite to just hit those APIs first before hitting our APIs, because if those APIs are down, obviously your own API test case would fail, right? So you can hit those API first, those test case for those APIs. If they are failing, you can straightforward send an email to them. Okay, hey, this is how I got the request and response for an API. They are failing. Just bring them up. So that's when you will have the correlation ID very handy for you to share with the external teams. So I think this is pretty much on this. After this, I will go back to this section to talk more about some of the test case details. But so far, any questions on this?
Hello, Neeraj.
Yep.
Here.
Yeah.
The example that you just shown for the test cases. So my question is it possible to write conditional test cases that for a particular scenario, if A condition A is true, then the B is input or B is true, then C is input. This kind of test cases.
Yes, I mean condition is like if in the response, if you get a specific response, then on the next API you want to make a specific call. What exactly condition you want to ask? I don't get it.
In our API,
can you give me an example?
There may be a situation in our API that suppose the input, for example, transaction type. My transaction type is 0. Then my input should be like this, 1. You can consider an example like if transaction type is 1, then my display should be 2. This kind of input based conditional mandatory test case.
I think Neeraj, I think he's talking about input parameter validation, okay, in the request. Right, Zero?
Yeah, so basically, yes. So if you have any request body, and if you send a request, if you send any wrong attribute in the request, so yes, you can test it very well. So if you have any body in the request which expects a specific field and you are not passing, so your API will say bad request, right? So yes,
so according to inside this verified attribute, we can
give
the body which we are expecting.
Yes, exactly. Okay. So if you have some attribute here in the request, let's say here we don't have the case, but let's say some field postcode and that postcode is not in valid format, right? And or if you're not sending a postcode, in that case you can status would be kind of a bad request. You can simply check your IO status should be bad request if I'm not sending anything, and that's on any specific body parameter of the error response.
Okay.
Yes, you can test it. Yes.
And one more question.
Yeah.
This Zerocode framework only supports HTTP based application like web application or REST API, and not the standalone application. So this is the prerequisite for it.
I mean your application has to be exposed to HTTP. It could be SOAP or REST or any other thing.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Thank you. So I'll move to this project. Why I'm moving this project is just want to show you a little bit about. Let's talk about some of the details about the get. I'll not touch this. GetAll Partners. Okay, so this is like so if you have the same kind of test, but you can straightforward read the entire request body from a reusable content. So let's say if you have a same request or same response, you're expecting same response for a particular request, then you can simply assert. You can put that specific response into reusable quantity and just simply say that okay, JSON file. This is how I expect the response in this case, right? Similarly, you have this is the example of API chaining. So if you see here, what I'm doing here is I am creating a new record. So name URL operation is post, request body is this, right? So this is my request body for the create call. So if I go here, somewhere it is there. Okay, and then what I'm asserting is okay. If my record is created, I'm expecting it to 01. I'm expecting a location and message. Okay. Now this new record, as soon as this record is created, immediately I want to test whether this record is being fetched by my API from the get call or not. So what I'll do here is simply you will this API chaining. What I'm doing is I'm writing the step name here. Okay, so this is a step name, registration at parkrun. Okay, step name dot response dot body dot location. That's it. It's all dynamic here, so you don't have to worry about what is coming. If it is a not null, it will fail here itself. But if it is a success, then this test case will fetch the data and hit the API to see whether you're able to fetch the record which you had just created. Okay, so this is a very basic example of API chaining testing functionality. And let's talk about how you can call a Java class. Okay, so this is the example of DB executor scenario. So if you see here is what I'm doing. I'm actually calling the Java class from here. This is very much useful. So if you want to really you have a database layer from where you want to test. Okay, if I'm hitting this query, I'm fetching a record from the database directly and seeing I should be able to assert it. So if you say this, I'm directly URL will become your class name, operation will become your method name, and then this will become your parameter to that method. So if I open this, here, this is execute simple SQL. So I'm calling execute simple SQL. I'm passing a simple SQL here, which is this, and then I'm asserting. Okay, so all this thing is getting taken care of by the framework. So when frameworks pass this JSON, it returns it calls this method and returns a response in a JSON format so that you can easily verify this here, right? So it is just this guy is just getting the data from database and returning a map which is being converted to a JSON format, and then so that you can easily assert here. Similarly, if you have multiple if you have a map, then you can, if you have multiple attributes passing to the method. So if you say execute SQL with parameter, so I have this method here which is taking a map. So if you have any method which is taking a map, how will you pass it? It's very easy. You have to just define a request body, and in the request you will say key and value, right? So this is your this, and this is value. That's it. It will just hit the Java class and get the response. So if you want to test anything by directly hitting the Java class, you can straightforward do with this. And I think okay. Yeah. So if you see what I have done here is, yeah. Let's talk about how you can integrate with the build tool, right? So that's what more important. Then that's what will make it automation test, because this test should be running as part of your test case. So what you can do is you can this is a build.getall file. So if you're using getall or event, doesn't matter. But in getall, it's very easy to see for the task. You'll have to just create a task. Just create a task once. So these are all one-time activity, right? Once you create a task, they will remain for there, and you can create a test suite. So you'll have just to say in this integration test, what test suite I want to run. And if you go to this test suite, basically in this test suite, you will say, okay, pick up all the tests from this folder and subfolder. You have to just specify the test package root name, integration test. Okay, so it will go to integration test, and it will run. It will pick up everything from here. Whatever you have written here, it will run all the test case residing in this package. So it is the integration test case. It will get it will run all the get calls, all the patch, all the post, everything it will run. And this is very interesting. So what it does is, by default it takes this. The moment you specify this, the framework will automatically go and pick up the file which is specific to the environment, to the CIT or SIT. Okay, so it will the framework will pick up a file application underscore host underscore CIT, application underscore host underscore SIT, so that you can run the same test suite against different environments, right? And this is what I have also mentioned here. If you, I'll show you this. Yeah. So this is what I have this. So if you just run this Java, run this API on two different ports, then you can simply specify. If you specify CIT, it will pick up application underscore host underscore CIT dot property file and run the test against it. If you specify SIT, it will pick up all the test from this. All right. So you can run the same test suite against different environment, and all you have to do is specify this task in your Jenkins pipeline. Just specify this task set. So I think page-running database performance test. Okay, any questions so far before I move? I think half of it is done. It took a little bit longer time, but sorry. This is I told this is the time, but this is the area we'll spend most of the time. Rest of the slides are like some of the important one, but yeah. Any questions so far?
We are good.
Okay, cool. Thank you. I'll move on. So I'll just summarize this. So this is kind of a layer. If you think about the various test cases which we write as a part of the development. So this is the unit test case, right? So this is the test case which individually test each and every layer of each and every class in a block of piece of the code, right? And then we have the integration test. So integration test case, component test, contract test, and end-to-end test. All these places you can fit Zerocode very well. Yeah. So in integration test case, if you look at it just talk about what are your integration, which all systems your code is integrating with. It is integrating with the database. It is integrating with this gateways, right? So you can very well write a test case to integration test case, and then you have component test where you are actually hitting each and every component. You can pretty much write test case against this. Contract test, obviously contract is like what is a contract, what is request and response expected from this API. So you can write a separate contract test for the API you are consuming. And obviously when you say end-to-end integration test, means if you are hitting your API, it will fetch the data from all the downstream APIs. So these are all the areas where you can very well fit the Zerocode in, and unit test is of course we have to write. Built-on integration, as I explained, like it's very easy to have it integrated with any Jenkins build tool. The best part is you can very well have, like, you can set up a job in the Jenkins which with a basic minimal kind of test suite which covers your high level functionality of the application, and you can just make that job running every in the morning, and you see, okay, these are all APIs all up and running and working. And you can also have separate job which which runs every morning and which which checks the which just hit the APIs which which our API is consuming, so that they are up and running or not. So all that can be done with integrating with any build tool. Okay, so consumers, zero code consumers, if I look at it, there are these are all the consumers which are we have been using and already in production. So Mastercard, VocaLink, HSBC has been using for a long time. Barclays also been using for a long time for API testing. Home Office UK is also being used, especially for Kafka pipeline testing and authentication testing. Deloitte is mostly using is for, and also in fact they have written a very good article on Kafka, how zero code framework has really helped them to automate their Kafka testing. And then the Yandex search engine also using for the load and stress testing. Okay, this reminds me, 4 minutes left, but I'll quickly cover this load testing as well as. So there are various publications available on dzone, Medium, and many others. If you see the Deloitte Automate Kafka testing by Deloitte, this is a good article if you want to take a look at it. OAuth authentication, quick and practice example of Kafka testing, develop zero defect API, easy and accurate performance testing. So there are various articles available or various blogs where you can go and take a look. And the community support, there are various community support available. So there is a Slack where you can straightforward raise a request and get onto a screen sharing mode. If you have a specific issue, people from the community of this framework will come and solve your issues. You can always very well raise issues on the GitHub, or there is a GitHub channel as well. And of course, you can always email, but I would say like Slack and Git are the most effective way of solving the queries very quickly. And then I'll just cover one thing like performance testing. I'll just show one slide about performance testing, how easy it has been made by Zerocode. Yeah, so if you see this, a lot of very detailed page on the wiki for load and performance testing ID based, or you can always run this. So all I have to just do is you have to just create this file, load config properties, and then it can be horizontal or a vertical loading. What all you have to do is verify these, specify these parameters, number of threads you want to run, ramp up period, loop count, and about time account. So basically the one test case, if you put these properties, the same test case will ramp up the threads and in this time, and it will loop count, etc. So if you go to detail of this file, you will easily able to understand how it works. So it's pretty much easy for writing any load testing or performance testing. I think I have, okay, this is just last page. Okay, I think I'm just on time, 2 minutes before. Any questions so far?
Can you put the performance testing into the CI build? Is it possible, Neeraj?
Yes. Yes, we can do that. Same way, I mean, you will have to just create a task, create a particular task for which links to that performance test suite, and then it will ramp up.
And if I have, let's say, some asynchronous service,
yeah,
is it possible to call via Zerocode?
Yes, you can also test in asynchronous service with Zerocode as well. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. So all I would say, when you just take your time and explore this library here, there is pretty much very detailed documentation here. You can, if you look at the Kafka testing section, there is a lot of links, features there, database testing, Kotlin, yeah, it supports Kotlin testing as well. So if your application is built on, I mean, if API is developed based on Kotlin, then pretty much you can implement it as a REST API. So you can test this as well. it has a Docker support as well, so you can just Dockerize the image and run it. There are various things here. It supports the JNet 5, a lot of things. So it's very much very nice documentation over here.
So Neeraj, for somebody starting off, the GitHub page is where you would suggest that they go to, right? I mean, that's
Yeah. So with I said here, if you already have a running API, you can simply the way I just explained, you can just grab this and you can start writing the test cases. And once you have the test case, then pretty much like you can hello world is also there. There's example called hello world here, which you can which anyone can explore and explore your Zerocode hello world. So yeah, so this is like
right. I think, yeah. My question was like, say for example, if there is somebody who's like a manual tester, so this GitHub page will kind of take them through the IDE setup and all those things also, right? Or is that something that they need to kind of figure out on their own?
yeah, so ID setup, yes, they will have to figure out ID setup. So I mean, they will have to see, it just need ID and then you'll have to set up a JDK. That's it. And yes, the build tool like GetAll or Maven. That's it.
Right. So maybe in our deck, Neeraj, what we can do is add some of those URLs also. So for IntelliJ and maybe how to do that, and we will publish that. So somebody starting off can look at that too.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yes.
And you this
I think if you can
this
share
API.
us,
Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, if you can share something getting started guide Neeraj, that will be very helpful.
Okay. Yes.
Thanks.
Yeah, Atul.
Yeah, I was just saying that this API is available at your on your Git page. So if somebody
Yes.
wanted, they could download that and
Yeah.
locally run it and then test it, right? I mean, so they
Yes.
could do that.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Are
one
there
more
any other?
thing.
Yeah.
So I have a set of API which are already being built and they have been like migrated from a legacy project, a monolithic application to APIs, and they have some internal calls to MQs and other APIs which are like external APIs to the system. So in that case, also can we use these test cases?
Yes. Pretty much yes, because you want to test any specific API. If it is consuming some other APIs, then you can definitely write a test case against it, which will be a kind of integration test calling all the APIs end to end.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Is that what you were asking, right?
Yeah, I was more looking towards an integration kind of a test because
Yes.
there are certain downstream applications or APIs which are being called within the use case journey. So that's what I wanted to check.
Yes, exactly. You can pretty much do that. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Are there any other questions? Otherwise, we will just maybe quickly walk through the platform once so everybody's aware what's happening.
Yeah, I think we can do that. Neeraj, can I share my screen?
Yeah, go on, please. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, Neeraj. It was really a good session. I could learn a lot. Honestly, I'm not from this background, but yeah, thank you so much.
No worries. Thanks, Om.
Hey everyone, thank you for joining this session. So basically, we started this initiative during this COVID. Like everyone was stuck at home, so we were thinking how we can connect people so that they can learn from each other and how they can share their expertise with others. So basically, we started these three formats, which is Let's Talk, which is one-on-one session with mentors, and the webinar and open discussion, which we conduct every Saturday evening, 7 to 8 p.m. IST. So like these are the formats which I explained. These are certain topics which we have started. We'll add more topics as we progress. So if you are interested in any of the topic, you can see the mentor name. Once you click on any of the mentor, it will redirect to the calendar of that mentor. You can check out when that mentor is available, and based on your time, I mean, you can just book this and you can have one-on-one session with that particular mentor. These are few mentors who have agreed to join us. So let's say if you want to talk to anyone, you can talk to them, you can schedule a session. If you want to check their profile, you can click on this icon and this will lead to their uh, LinkedIn page. So let's say if I want to talk to Vinod, again I can click here to schedule a free session and I can see when he's free. I'll also get brief of what Vinod does and his expertise and background, and then similar way I can schedule the session. Uh, if you want to see which are the upcoming webinar, then you can click here and here you will get to see. So here now you're able to see the current webinar. I mean, we will update it once we have the next webinar, or if there is any open discussion, same can be found here. So this will give you the upcoming open discussion. If you think this is something excites you and you want to be part of it and you want to join us as a mentor, you can click here and you can fill a simple form. Basically you can help us with certain details, and also you can help us with the topic which you would be interested. We have listed few, but if you have any other topic you can mention that, and then we would onboard here as a mentor. So you can also contribute to this platform. We would request Neeraj also to join here as a mentor, and so that if you want to have one-on-one session with Neeraj to understand this better, then you can do that. Um, Also, using this button, you can see all the mentors at one go. So here actually we are using Calendly to organize our mentors calendar. So here you will see all the mentors at one place, and based on your interest, you can actually schedule one-on-one session with them. On the website, you will see all our social media pages. So here you can follow us because we don't push emails to invite you for any of this webinar. So if you want to know what would be the next webinar, next week webinar, then you can follow any of the pages. We actually post on Facebook, LinkedIn, Insta, Twitter, that the details of our next webinar and the link of registration. We also record this session and we would upload this session on YouTube. So in case you missed it, then you can always go back and watch this session. So yeah, do also help us with the feedback. So Atul will share the feedback link. Please give us the feedback. We are hardly asking 2-3 questions. That too, they are very simple. If you have any topic which you want to suggest or topic which you are interested in, then we would try and get you the mentor who can help you with that particular topic. If you think that I'm not able to find certain mentor and I need, you know, certain a domain expert, then please write us email so that I'm looking for a mentor in this category, and we would certainly help you with that. Or if you have any kind of suggestions or you want to be part of any kind of you know, this initiative, then please email us or register us. We would be happy to onboard you. So thank you. Over to Atul.
Yeah, I think that pretty much covers it. I just wanted to add, I think we are in the process of adding Neeraj to the platform. So I know we will try and enrich that deck a bit and add some more, initial steps for somebody to start off with. But if you maybe want to, you could schedule something with Neeraj, one-on-one, and also ask him to help. So also, I think Om just missed mentioning this, but the platform is completely non-profit. So we don't. Not just. It's not just non-profit. We don't make any money. So none of the mentors are really making any money out of this. So if you're, welcome to join, but there's no. It's not a monetary initiative. So that's not the plan here. So if you could support us on the social media platforms and kind of follow us there, that will be great. But apart from that, it's completely non-profit as such. So yeah, I would just like to thank Neeraj. Neeraj, I think it's a great session. I think you put in a lot of work to get all the code up and running. So thanks, and I'm sure people will reach out to you to kind of follow up on this.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks everybody for joining the session, and
Yeah.
please fill out the feedback if possible.
Yes, thank you.